In this episode, we're going to talk about a lot of things. I've been asked before what my best and worst moments in my DJing career have been. And the answer kind of reminds me of this scene from the Billy Crystal movie City Slickers.
All right, Ed, your best day. What is it, twins in a trapeze? What?
No, I don't want to play.
Come on, we did it.
I don't feel like it.
Okay.
I'm 14 and my mother and father are fighting again. You know, because she caught him again. Caught him. And I finally realized he wasn't just cheating on my mother. He was cheating on us. So I told him. I said, you're bad to us. We don't love you. I'll take care of my mother and my sister. We don't need you anymore. And he made like he was going to hit me, but I didn't budge. Then he turned around and he left. Never bothered us again. But I took care of my mother and my sister from that day on. That's my best day.
What was your worst day?
Same day.
So, kind of like that character with the mustache, my best and worst moments in DJing came at the same exact time. Before I get into all that, I'll say that, our thing on this web series is to teach you things that you can learn from and that can help you with your own DJing. So after I yap about myself for a while, I promise there's a point and we'll come back to that objective, which is to help you guys with your own DJing, okay? So just bear with me for now. I'll start by just giving you some context of the period of time it was. This was back in 1999, I was going to say it's before the internet, but that's not true. I will say that it was before it became so widespread and commonplace for all this DJ content to be available on YouTube, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Facebook, whatever. It was just a different time. All we had, for the most part, in terms of DJ videos were, VHS cassettes, right? We used to buy, sell, and trade VHS tapes amongst each other. That was really the only way you could see battles from around the world. And that was pretty much our internet, was sharing those VHS tapes. Now, those videos were so rare. There were only a few made per year. They were generally put out by the big official battles, which at the time were ITF and DMC. It's not like today where it's, commonplace for things to, go viral or be broadcast and shared every second of every day. It was just different back then. Like I said, the main videos you had were the ones released by the major battles, which at the time were DMC and ITF. Outside of that, as far as turntablist stuff, there was a Turntable TV, obviously, from Thud Rumble and Qbert. There were the Platter Pirates videos and some videos from Vestax, and really, that I can recall, that was about it. And for that reason, because it was such a rare opportunity to be seen by DJs around the world on one of those few VHS tapes that came out each year, it was a huge deal to be on one of those. Because now it's like, who cares? You can just, you want someone to see your routine, just post it on Instagram and, people can see it just like that. But, we didn't have all that back then. So I'm just kind of trying to set the context for why it was such a big deal to be on any one of those videos. And, as a battle DJ, as a turntablist, that was pretty much my life's goal and dream at the time, So, okay, long story short, I made it in 1999 to the ITF US Finals. The 4 DJs from the West Coast that were in the US Finals were myself, DJ Remedy, Snake Eyes, and DJ Realm, now known as Mike Realm. From the East Coast, there was the East Coast champ, DJ XS. There was DJ Perseus, DJ Imperial, and DJ Fresh. So, given that context I mentioned about DJ videos being so rare and it being such a rare big deal to be on one of them, I think it's kind of clear why the good side, why this was the best moment for me in DJing. I mean, I had accomplished my life's dream of making it into one of these annual videos, right? I mean, forget whether I won, forget whether I placed. As long as my routine came out, the way I wanted it to, and everyone got to see the video on the VHS tape, like mission accomplished. I was happy, man. Like just to have made it to that point. Yeah, it's not an exaggeration. Like that was my life's goal and dream at that time. I mean, I was only 22, so what do I know? Going back to the pre-internet aspect of it, I mean, if someone tells you the name of some DJ nowadays, even if they're on the other side of the country or on another part of the world, you can find them. You can see them. You can go online. You can search for them. You can ask around for them if you, for some reason, are unable to find it yourself. It's easy to watch footage of any DJ from around the world. But at that time, we didn't have all that. Like I said, our only source of DJ footage was these rare videos. So there would be, big name DJs from the other side of the country that, because if they had not been on one of those videos yet, you just had not seen them. You would hear about it, from word of mouth, and maybe someone typing about them on a message board on like the Pickles message board or something like that, but you were unable to see them with your own eyes. So, I mean, when I found out that I had to battle XS, I was like, well, that's fucking really unfortunate. I mean, he's the East Coast champ, so obviously he's no joke. Taking a step back from that, I heard how he got to be the East Coast champ. In the East Coast ITF battle, he beat Jay Smoke from the Allies. I mean, he beat Jay Smoke. Like I was, in thinking about who I might end up facing in the U.S. finals, I was like, shit, it might be someone like Jay Smoke. I mean, Jay Smoke is an animal. He's no joke. Like I didn't want to battle Jay Smoke, so I sure as fuck didn't want to battle the guy who beat Jay Smoke, right? And just aside from him, who he beat, and the fact that he won the East Coast battle, I mean, we didn't have videos, so all I heard was these ghost stories, these like fairy tales, these legends that were shared, by word of mouth, someone telling me about him on the phone, or, maybe reading about it on a internet forum, right? So, man, like, before I met XS, for myself, like, his reputation, like, it preceded him, because he's one of the greats, and he was a big deal even back then, Like, I heard he, like, basically was the best scratcher on the East Coast, which, shit, I don't know, this might be true today, right? Like I said before, Jay Smoke is no fucking joke. I mean, this guy is a battle animal, He's a decorated champion, and this guy fucking beat him, and I have to battle the guy that beat Jay. Yeah, that's fucking great. Can't wait for that, The fact that he beat someone like Jay in a head-to-head battle means not only was he an incredible scratcher, which everyone knew, but I mean, if you're beating Jay Smoke, I take that to mean you're a fucking battle savage, like, you know what I mean? I wasn't at the East Coast battle. I couldn't see it for myself, but in my mind, I feel like the battle between him and Jay must have been like one of those all-time head-to-head clashes of the Titans. I'm thinking like it must have been something like comparable to, in my mind, the best head-to-head battle I've ever seen on a video or anywhere else is between Craze and Dummy in the 96 ITF battle. I mean, both those guys, like, man, that was like the definition of that. That's why you go to watch a head-to-head battle, is you're hoping to see something like that. I mean, these guys brought heat. They were both coming to win. They were going after each other's necks. You know what I mean? And it was epic. So even though I couldn't see for myself the East Coast battle between XS and J Smoke, I just, all I could do is assume it was something like that. I assumed they were doing everything, going all out, dissing, scratching, juggling, body tricks, hyping the crowd up, all that. So I was like, damn, unless I want to get made to look like an asshole on one of these videos, I better, I better come with all those things I just said, If I'm going to lose to somebody, then that's fine. Like Dummy lost to Craze in the battle that I was talking about. Side note, in my opinion, I would have voted for Dummy in that. I mean, they both killed it. But anyway, like, that's how I wanted to go out. I wanted to go out like Dummy. Like, you're in this battle, head to head, the crowd's going nuts, and yeah, you lost, but damn, everyone respected you. You didn't come out looking all shook. You came out like you were there to battle, and yeah, you lost, but damn, like, people were feeling you. You were forcing them to feel you, and that's how I wanted to go out. I mean, I've never been a super confident person naturally, even now. But back then, I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to beat this motherfucker, and that's not really my objective. My objective is just to show what I can do to come out battling really hard, not just, showing my turntablist skills, but I mean, I want to go to war like Craze or Dummy or Mixmaster Mike or Noise or, one of those beasts, I was like, I'm going to lose, but, that's fine. Let me get carried home on my shield, like after a hard fought battle. So anyway, that all sets the kind of the context of what I had in my mind of what I was getting into and what I had to do to, even if I lost, to not get stomped the fuck out, So it turned out that the battle went differently than I had expected going in. I ended up advancing past XS in the first round, advancing past DJ Fresh in the second round, and battling Mike Realm in the finals, and I placed second. Man, that was fucking unbelievable. Like that was not a possibility at all in my mind going in. Like I said, I just expected to show up, do the best that I could, but lose to XS and, be on one of these videos that I always wanted to be on and just be happy with that. That was my plan. So, I promised I was going to get back to something useful for you guys, you meaning turntablists, battle DJs. Here's my takeaway from one aspect of the battle. Don't ever go in assuming that you're just going to lose. I mean, why the fuck are you entering? Why are you showing up if you're just expecting to lose? It's fine to be prepared to make the best of whatever outcome actually occurs, but I mean, don't assume anything. Like, the guy could skip, he could mess up, you might advance further than you think. So be prepared to go all the way. If you're at a DMC battle, don't just have a 2-minute set. Have your 6-minute set ready. And, if you don't make it to the 6-minute round, then you have a routine that you didn't have before. Just be prepared to go all the way. If you're in a head-to-head battle, prepare enough material so that in the event you do go all the way, then you're prepared. I wish I would have been told that or taken that to heart back then. I mean, if you watch the video when I battle Mike Realm in the finals, I do one juggle and that's fine. But in the other half of that round, I was just freestyle scratching over Souls of Mischief, I was not prepared for this. I had zero expectation that I'd end up in the finals. So I didn't even know that we needed a 2-minute set in the final round. I didn't even know. I didn't pay attention to it. I was like, well, I'm just going to fucking lose right away. So what the fuck do I need to think of that for, But if I had been prepared, I mean, I'm not saying I would have beat Realm. I would never say that, but like, at least I would have done my best and done everything I was capable of in that final 2-minute round. I mean, I had in my pocket, I had a Wu-Tang juggle that, that some people liked, and I wish I had pulled it out against Realm. I wish I had I had been prepared like he was to go all the way. I wish I had pulled out that Wu-Tang juggle I had, and I wish I had been prepared to, maybe do a 1 minute juggle version of it and then scratch for 60 seconds. I don't know. That's what I want you to take away from this is no matter what you're up against in any battle, don't ever assume that you're not going to advance past a certain point because things happen, and just as you have to be prepared for the worst, you just as much have to be prepared for the best. So, in telling all this story, I figure it's pretty clear why this was, at that point, the highest, best moment in my DJ career, right? I mean, I'm just some kid from Sacramento, No one from Sacramento had ever made it to the US finals of ITF or DMC until that point. So I was really proud of that. Just by being there, I was guaranteed to be on one of those few videos that came out for the year and everyone would get to see. I placed higher in the battle than my wildest dreams ever could have imagined. I placed second, which was, yeah, it was nuts. It was, all of this was a dream come true and then some, right? So the good side of it is obvious. Now for the bad side, so, my number one objective and what I was looking forward to in all of this was to be on one of those videos, right? And the way I kind of saw it going down was I would be on the video and, I managed to advance past a couple people and do a bunch of different routines. As good or not good as I was, people would get to see it. And it was something I could share with everyone. I would show everyone I knew, and I would be so proud of it. And this was going to be like my calling card, or this was going to be not on my tombstone. That's going too far. But I was going to have a video that I could point everyone to and be proud of. And I would, no matter what happened after that point, I would have that forever. I would have a video that I wanted to show everyone. I wanted everyone to see. That's kind of how I saw it going down. But then I still remember the day at my apartment in Westwood at the time, the video came. I got the blue cassette mailed to me from ITF. I remember pulling it out of the mailbox and being like, oh, great, it's finally here. I had been waiting impatiently for it. So then I popped it in, and, I wanted to see my part. First thing, I fast forwarded to my part, and it was horrible. It was so embarrassing and such a cringe. I couldn't watch that shit. First of all, I think it's super corny if, I don't know, I say it's corny, but maybe it would have served me well. I never practiced in front of a mirror, and I sure as fuck didn't practice my battle expressions or gestures, like whatever I did on stage, whether at ITF or any other event, it just came out of me. I don't practice all that shit. I practice the turntable techniques, but I don't practice how I'm gonna middle finger somebody or, whatever. That's it. I practice the juggling and the scratching and the turntable stuff to a T, but I'm not gonna sit there and practice how I look or how I act, So I never did any of that. So I had no idea. It never occurred to me what I might look like while battling. I rarely, if ever, got to watch videos of myself because it was a rare thing. You can just phone yourself with your iPhone like you can now. Like, if I ever wanted to have a video of myself, I had to borrow, I was a college kid, so I was broke. I would have had to borrow like someone's 8mm video camera, which was expensive, and I sure didn't have one, and my friends didn't have one. So I never really got to see myself DJ or battle. So I had no idea that I looked like a fucking ass, overacting, overemphasizing, just being extra, just overdoing everything. Like, oh my God, like, yeah. I mean, let's just say if I knew I was looking all crazy in my face, I wouldn't have done that. That shit is embarrassing, I felt like I looked fucking stupid. I was like, oh my God, I don't want anyone to ever see this. So my dream of having something to share with everyone and be proud of was 180 degrees different. I was like, oh my God, I hope no one ever sees this. I don't want to tell anyone about it. I don't want people to know it exists. So that was bad. That's why I refer to it as also the lowest point in my DJ career. So part of me sharing about this is kind of my way of explaining why some people, you know, they'll, when they meet me for the first time in person, they'll be like, hey, you know, you were dope in that video. It was great. And, you know, and they'll be real complimentary, which is kind of them. But I'm like, oh my God, you're bringing up the worst thing that's ever happened to me in my DJ career, man. You don't know that. You have no way of knowing that. So, of course, I'm not upset with you. But it's like coming up to me and saying, hey, remember that time you went on a video that went around the world and you made yourself look like a total tool and everyone, you know, was probably laughing at you and shit. You know, like that's kind of how I took it. And I know no one meant it like that, but yeah, you know, I hated that video. I still don't love it. I wish I would have known to do it differently, both in terms of being prepared to go all the way and also in terms of not fucking being Mr. Facial Expression Battle, you know. And I think it's cool. I think it's great when DJs have stage presence and they show that they're comfortable up there and they're ready to, you know, be part of the party with the crowd, you know. That's dope. That's necessary. You know, looking at the opposite extreme of that, I used to be the DJ who went up there and did some technical stuff with some dry, plain drum beat, and it was technical, but whatever. But, you know, I never really looked at the crowd, and I didn't look confident. You know, and then I'd lose to someone who did some easy juggle with Snoop Dogg or whatever was popular at the time. So that was my background, and I was like, well, my one shot at the U.S. Finals, I am not going out like that. You know, I'm gonna go out blasting. And like I said, I didn't know how I actually visually looked doing it, but man, I'll tell you though, as stupid as I feel like I looked on that video, and I'll tell you, man, that was in my whole life. I don't know if I've ever felt more alive, man. That was fucking, I mean, I was in San Francisco in the mecca of the scratching world in front of, you know, the judges were Vinrock, Shortcut, Apollo, and DJ Q from the Bulletproof Skratch Hamsters. So, you know, for the people who think I should not have advanced past XS or Fresh, well, I wasn't the judge. Go blame those guys. Go blame Shortcut and them. You know, those names I just mentioned. Wasn't my fault. I just did my job, you know. But yeah, it was very kind of painful to go through that. I mean, this is a first world problem. This is just, you know, I thought I was going to be dope on a video, and instead I hated how I looked on the video, right? Well, with that, now is a good time to segue into a little segment. If you ever watch, I can't remember if it's Jimmy Fallon or Jimmy Kimmel, but there's a segment called, what is it, Celebs Read Mean Tweets. Let me share with you some of the shit people posted about me in that video. And they were all 100% correct, but let me share them with you real quick. I'll share these comments people made about me, and years later after all of that, I went back and replied to some of them, which shows, you know, the fact that I even replied shows, you know, it meant something to me, you know. So I'll share both what they said and what I replied to them on the YouTube comments. One guy said, that dissing shit by Mike is all executioner bullshit. Listen to XS's cuts. I think he's the only guy in the East Coast you can cut like DJs from the West Side. If anything, DJ Mike should have moved to East where it's least, and XS should have lived in the West where it's best. West Side. So later on, I replied on the comments. I posted it under the Skratch Knobs name because I happened to be logged in under that account. But I said, I just now saw this. Yeah, kind of ironic, right? I've always been more of a juggler, and I'm from Cali. And XS is one of the best scratchers ever, and he's from New York. Totally the opposite of the normal East-West style differences. Anyway, I wish I could be good at both. And by the way, to be mentioned in the same sentence as the Executioners is maybe the best compliment about DJing I've ever received. So yeah, man, if you're gonna like try to make someone feel bad about their DJing, don't compare them. Don't say they're just like the Executioners, because they're gonna be like, "Fuck yeah, I love the X-Men." You know. Another guy said, "Mike C reminds me of the little runt you'd bring along to a fight for shit talking purposes. That's all he did on both sets. Talk shit. He didn't really show me anything, and that 2 Live juggle was weak. XS killed him." Oh, I said, "Just now saw this. I ain't coming anywhere near a fight. I'm shook. I'll just stick to DJing." I mean, that's how I still feel. Another guy said, I was using like these fucking 2 Live Crew suck my dick, you know, lyrics from the song. So one guy said, certain points in the video, he names the times in the video, pause and pause, which is, for those who don't know, that's the equivalent of like no homo or something like that. So I said, "Just now saw this. Haha, totally agree now that I look back on it." Well, what could I say, right? What else? What else could I say to that? One guy said, "Mike C's diss was as dumb as Sinista's untalented finger drop. How guys in the East Coast believe that finger pointing at a record while a beat drops is a talent is totally ridiculous. ISP was 100 more talented than the Executioners. That finger dropping is plain garbage. I'm sure Sinister would agree." Again, if you're gonna try to say someone is whack, but you use them in the same sentence as the Executioners, Sinister, I mean, that's like saying, "Yo, this coffee is scalding hot as fuck. It feels like jumping in snow naked." What the fuck? The X are the shit. Thank you for mentioning me in the same paragraph as them. I love those guys. One guy says, "What an absolute rasclat. Shit scratching, all dissing, snore, devoid of originality." I couldn't think of anything clever to say to that, so I just didn't say nothing. I can't say that it didn't bother me. I mean, I agreed with everything they said. Like, I overdid it. I was overacting, but I didn't know. I wish I could have done it differently, but move on. So after all these years, regarding that whole night, there's some things I definitely want to make clear for everyone. Excess is the homie. It was just a battle. It was just some hip hop shit. He knows. He gets it. Same with Realm. Uh, Speaking of Realm, I mean, back then, my crew, Top Ramen and Sta and Realm and his homies, like we battled each other all the time, and we all wanted that shit real bad. It was real competitive. Back then, I had the mindset of like one of those old school NBA players, like Bill Laimbeer wasn't friends with Larry Bird, and like Robert Parrish probably didn't fuck with Magic Johnson. I don't know. There's better examples than that, but you get the point. I already mentioned Excess as the homie, but speaking of Realm, I mean, man, like years later, I had more contact with him outside of battling each other, and that guy is the nicest, coolest guy. Like, I dig that guy. I fucks with Realm. He's so fucking cool. Yeah, and I didn't know that back then because I was just tunnel vision, battle, me. But man. Oh, that's another lesson I should impart. Like whether you're competing in a battle or in the record sales marketplace or for views or whatever it is you might be chasing that another person is also chasing. I was going to say in this business or in this industry, but in this life, the most important thing is your relationships and connections to people. So don't let yourself get caught up in competition or your goals so that you're blind to the opportunity to meet and make friends with like-minded people. I mean, how many Skratch DJs are there in the world? There's a really small quantity of us, and man, I just now I just want to meet all of you and politic and do dope shit together. So I wish I would have known that back then, because these were some cool motherfuckers even back then. I didn't know that. All right. Well, if you've made it this far, thanks for listening to me blab about some old memories of mine. But as usual, I hope we provided some useful thoughts for you, including if you're going to enter a battle, be prepared to go all the way. Don't assume you won't go all the way because you just might. Um, if you're going to perform places, maybe watch videos of yourself before doing so that you know what you look and sound like and you won't be totally surprised when you see it later on. And, you know, make friends with your fellow DJs. Don't wait for all these years to go by before you realize how cool they really are and how much you enjoy, speaking to them. So with that, shout out to all the DJs I mentioned from the battle, XS, Realm, Fresh, everybody else. We did dope things together. That was good times. All right, well, that's it for this episode. We'll be back with more stuff, and I wish I could tell you about everything. I'm really excited about it, but I'd rather just you see it when it happens. So thanks for watching this one, and peace.
Ready?